In the past, I've built my old house when I used to live with my parents, and I've built my new house where I currently live and probably will for the rest of my life, and now it's time to build my dream house. Now this means a house that if you had unlimited money, you won the lottery and you don't have to worry about maintaining it or anything like that. It's always fun to theorize. Now, for this video to work, I'm going to have to use a resource pack because these materials are the ones that I would be making my house out of in real life if I could make my dream house. And as you can see, there's nothing really in Minecraft like it with the dark bricks and these sort of sandstone bricks. They just don't exist in this shade or color. So I've had to make my own. So now you know where these blocks have come from, they're custom made. Let's get on with the build. So since this isn't a tutorial, I can actually do the time-lapse a bit faster than I normally would, and there's actually quite a lot of house to get through. The first thing that I need to point out is that this house turned out a lot bigger than I hoped. What I'm working on right now is just trying to nail down the style that's in my mind, and I have actually got a build in mind in real life called Wadston Manor. Here's a picture of it, and this is where a lot of my inspiration came from. And you'll see that they're very much made out of the same kind of materials. This oolitic limestone looks a very sandy colour, so the colours might not match, seeing as mine's very golden, but you get the idea nonetheless. Once I had sort of nailed down one side of the build, I decided to, lay the foundation of everything else just so I know where it all goes, and then it will be a case of repeating a pattern over again, apart from this front area which needed a larger window and a more impressive face to it, which again you saw on that picture might be where I got it from. So this is a very English/French style home, maybe built in the 1800s. So it's a very specific thing, but I am a bit of a sucker for the English countryside and these kind of manners that you don't really get anymore. However, if I was going to make my dream house, I would definitely make it from scratch, because old houses are great and all, they look fantastic, but not only are they a lot of work to maintain, but they lack a lot of modern features. They are incredibly dated, seeing as they're several hundred years old. So what I would do is I would try and imitate those old buildings and styles, but with new building techniques and with modern features in the house. And we will come to that a little bit later on, but for now, you see these very traditional big style windows. Now we're working on the back of the house. There's a couple of features that are different from the front. One of them is this giant balcony that I'd like to add with a few planting features. That will lead on to the master bedroom and will overlook the garden. Over on the right hand side, we'd have here the traditional style wall, but I would put in a very modern feature of having an enormous sliding door that will lead onto the kitchen so that it feels very open and it just walks straight onto the patio. But then above it, you've got very traditional windows. It might look a little bit like a happy face, however, I think it looks quite nice. And then this bit in the center will be pretty much an imitation of the one that is on the front. And then we can move on to the roof. Now the roof will look fairly traditional. For the most part, it'll be made out of this grey slatey type thing. And then it's going to have a bunch of dormers, which are very intricately made in a chateau or, English country house style. This sort of building in real life is so unobtainable. Like, I don't even know if the techniques for making the houses that they did back then even exist now. I don't know if you can even do it anymore. But either way, this is a fantasy dream house situation which will never happen. So fortunately, I don't have to worry about that. I just have to be able to build it in Minecraft. And the last thing that I need to do is this centerpiece, this large arch that is really the most prominent feature of the entire house. That's why it's got like a bit more detailing over the top, and it's got a large window, and it's a bit taller than the bits on the side that you see there, but it's kind of in a similar style. The rest of it is going to be basically the same roof over and over again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take World Edit and I'm just going to copy it over, but I'm going to add in some cauldrons and anvils as like a bit of a fence that goes all the way around it. Again, it's just a bit more detailing. But on all of these houses, no matter how old, they have chimneys, whether they're real or not. Lots of houses in my estate actually have chimneys, but they're not used, so we actually put fake chimneys on our houses these days just so that they look old-fashioned. Whether or not these chimneys would be real in my dream house, I don't know. but it might be nice to have one nonetheless, even if it's 1 or 2 for symmetry purposes. So that's pretty much the exterior of my dream house, and I think it's actually come out pretty accurate to what's in my mind. However, the reality is this is a fantasy, this is a dream house. This house probably will never end up existing. Even if I had unlimited money, would I actually live here? I don't know. However, I had a lot of fun building this in Minecraft and trying to come up with what my dream house might look like. But there's lots of things that you need to think about, not just the exterior. We have the garden, we have the interior to talk about, and we're going to get to that a little bit later on. So one of the things that really makes a house like this spring to life is a bit of life itself. You need to add some trees and some vegetation, even if they're just in front of the pillars. That sort of thing will really make this kind of build stand out. And I'm really pleased with how this has come out, and I hope you like it too. Obviously there's not going to be a tutorial for this house, however, I'm pretty sure if you just looked at the dimensions of it, it shouldn't be too difficult to put together. I think this I would grade in one of my top builds that I've made, especially in terms of the houses that I've made. I don't normally build giant manors like this, so this was a real learning experience. But I think this has come out just right. However, we're still not done. There's interior and there's the gardens to do. And there's lots of features that my dream house would need to have if it was to fully fulfill this dream of mine. So let's look into what that might be. So everyone, this is my dream house. I have actually added a garden since recording the actual build itself. And I've even done a small amount of interior, but this is clearly biased, but I really, really like this build. It's actually come out pretty much exactly how I would imagine my house. The only thing that you really have to bear in mind is the scale, okay? This looks absolutely massive. It looks so unbelievably large, and it is a very, 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 very big house. But let's put this in context. So this is the typical garage size. This is 2 garages next to each other. So that hopefully gives you a bit of context into how big this house. So it is still huge, but I don't want you to go home thinking that this is really unbelievably massive. So I'm very proud of how this has come out, and I've even mixed in some extra bits around the back here. So let's take a little tour, shall we? Starting with the front gate. So obviously, if I were to have my dream house and I had unlimited money and all of that stuff, I would want a bit of privacy. So I would have a wall around my land and just take this for granted, because obviously I'm in a flat world. I don't have any neighbors or anything. So I've just made a random wall around. So let's just go with that. So we've got our little gated entrance here. And as we go down, there's a little path where you would drive in. And there's a nice little fountain here that's, yeah, now that I think about it, it's kind of blocking the view of the house. On the right here, we've got a couple of garages and enough space for a little studio up there, if I so pleased. So enough space for a couple of cars in there. I'm not a huge car person, so I don't need all that much space. So the other thing is this is very, very yellow. It's almost a little too golden, but we'll just go for it for now. So this is the front door. It's huge. Again, the scale is not quite right. Now, before I turn around and show you the interior on this, I just want to say the scale is a bit off. And yeah, all the walls are not great either. Okay, I've not done a very good job on the interior, but you can see all of the rooms. So here's like the dining room. We got some nice fancy chairs. Again, it's not massive, big enough for a table and a couple of stools and stuff. And then in here is the pride and joy. This is the modern kitchen. So like I said, I want to have an old looking home with lots of modern features. So we've got here like our ovens and all of the surfaces and stuff, and then we got the island in the middle, which is always great, and then we got some more seating over here, and then we got the back door right there, and we got this big sliding door that opens up into the garden. But let's go take a look at the rest of the house. If we move over here, this is obviously the staircase. Now you'll notice that this goes all the way up to the ceiling, And it's very difficult to work with a space like this. But either way, let's hop in here. This is the living room. Now, don't take the furniture too much in hand. I basically tried to fill the room. Now, you will see that there is a fireplace. I don't know if I'd actually use a fireplace, but they're kind of nice to have. So you've got the TV, you've got all the stuff. Yeah, it's the living room. It's a big old room to entertain people. And then if we go upstairs, and like I said, it's not to scale because this staircase is absolutely tiny. And then we go up this side. These are all the bedrooms up here, which is why they're all different colours. So if we hop in here, this is one bedroom. I haven't, put a bed in here or anything. And then it's got an ensuite. It feels like I'm giving a real house tour. This is really strange because this house doesn't exist, but in my mind, it does. Here's another bedroom and another ensuite. One thing that I would like if I did have this unbelievable dream house of mine is that every single bedroom would have its own little bathroom. Even if it's just a shower and a toilet, that is good enough. So all of the bedrooms are, spacious, got some nice storage areas, and there's 4 of them up here. Now, this is the master bedroom. It has the largest space here, and there's 4 bedrooms in this house up here so far because they are very large. And there's a little storage area here. Oh, no, this is the toilet. Sorry, this is the toilet area. The storage area is over here. This is where I would keep, all my shoes and cloaks and stuff. So it has a wardrobe room and an ensuite, which is what makes this the master bedroom. And it has the balcony. This room has access to the balcony over the lovely garden that you see here. And you can even see the church in the background. Isn't that nice? So if we go upstairs again, this has very little detail up here. I honestly didn't know what to do, but in these huge manors, you have 3 stories. And I was thinking entertainment rooms, like maybe a pool table or something along those lines, just a relaxing area up here. Or maybe another bedroom, but for me, if I was still doing YouTube in this dream house, I would make a studio of some kind. But anyway, that's kind of the interior of this space, so yeah, the scale is a bit off, right? It's very difficult to work with this kind of thing in Minecraft, but I've definitely done my best, so let's break through the front door again. Now, before we continue the rest of this house tour into the garden and stuff, I thought it'd be fun to show you what it looks like if I turn the resource pack off, because this is what the house really looks like in default Minecraft, and oh boy, it's pretty pink. That is a really intense looking house. It doesn't look nearly as good, so this sort of highlights how important the texture is when you do something like this, which is why I had a custom pack made for this particular video, but I thought it'd be really funny to show you what this actually looks like without the resource pack. Anyway, let's continue on with the garden. So, as we saw earlier, I got this big open area which goes into the kitchen. There's some outdoor seating, and then we've got a bit of a patio area here with some lighting. And then we've got, from the back door, we've got these stepping stones that go out into the garden. Now, at the end of the garden, I've actually got some sleepers here with some raised beds to grow some potatoes, carrots, whatever it may be. And some trellises here to grow some sweet peas. Who knows? I imagine that if I had enough money to make something like this, I probably wouldn't be working. So I'd probably like to grow some food or something like that. Because a house like this, in real life, would cost millions. And not only millions to buy the house, but millions to maintain. Realistically, I would probably never live in anything like this. Because if I did, I don't think I would manage it. This is a dream house situation. That is a massive building. But imagine just how much grass you'd have to cut. I couldn't do that. This is a huge amount. There's a tennis court over here, and of course, there's a swimming pool as well. I'd like to keep active as well in my dream house. There's a nice little pergola here, and then some seating area, and then lots of flower beds around all of the raised areas. Oh, and over here, we've got a conversation pit, so you can sort of hop over here. You've got a bit of privacy away from the main house, and you hop down in here, and you can sit down and have a chat with your friends. So, overall, this is my dream house. It's got a lot of features that I would like. Whether the garden is exactly as I would like, I'm not sure. I just put this together to kind of just include the things I'd like. Growing my own vegetables, tennis court, maybe even a basketball court on the other side, who knows. A swimming pool, a conversation pit, that sort of thing. Remember, this is a dream house. This is so unrealistic. But if I was able to make my own house, I'd probably make something like this. Thank you very much for watching, and please let me know what you think of this in the comments down below. And if you were going to have a dream house, would it look something like this, or would it look completely different? Let me know in the comments below. Goodbye!